What's up, guys? Joey's jersey is somewhere back there. I can't zoom in with the camera this way, but I believe it's right next to Brad's. Yeah, it's in that slot right next to Brad's, a couple over from the Final Four banner. VCU 103, Elizabeth City State 58 at the Siegel Center tonight. We just got done with press availability, talking to Terrence Hill and Zeb Jackson, in addition to Ryan Odom. Very fun press conference from Ryan Odom. He was very talkative tonight. Talked a lot about the 2011 Final Four run. He was at some of those games in the NCAA tournament as a guest of Mike Jones. Apparently they go way back. And talked about an analogy that he used with his team from the TV show The Bear, which I didn't understand completely because I haven't seen The Bear yet, but I've heard great things, and I've been meaning to watch it. So if anyone can explain that, I'm going to post that clip online later today, and please educate me on The Bear. I might go home and start watching it tonight, honestly, because I've heard some great things about that show, and apparently Ryan Odom is a big fan. But Elizabeth City State's Division II, right? So you expected this to be a wide margin. It was a wide margin. Very celebratory atmosphere at the Siegel Center tonight with Joey Rodriguez's jersey retirement in the pregame ceremony. Talked to him at halftime. Gonna have that interview posted shortly here, and have the full ceremony posted from before the game. Was on Black Friday with a jersey retirement of a fan favorite like that. You're playing in a Division II school. It was a kind of holiday celebratory atmosphere here tonight. Elizabeth City State never led. VCU led for 39-46. And was really never tested in this game. So what can you take away, right, from a blowout win over a Division II school? By the way, the reason that they scheduled this game is quite savvy. A lot of people would say that it alludes to problems with the net and how the NCAA tournament committee evaluates resumes, but Ryan Odom talked about it, and I've had a lot of people ask me that. Odom talked about it in the post-game today. It's a practice that he helped bring from the Mountain West to the Atlantic 10, where in the Mountain West, they would all agree as a conference to schedule one non-D1 opponent because it doesn't count. It doesn't count toward your net. Essentially, when the NCAA tournament committee is looking at VCU's resume, they will not count this game, even though it still goes on the athletics website and on their schedule down as a win. They're 6-2 now. As far as the NCAA tournament committee goes, they're 5-2, and this game never happened. So the reason that you do that as a conference, it's really not for the better teams like VCU. It's for the bottom feeders, so you don't have slip-ups, right? And so you don't have, no offense to Fordham, no offense to a George Washington or this year Richmond or LaSalle or teams that are at the bottom of the conference. It's so that you don't have a slip-up game, where you beat a bad team by a few points and it hurts the overall net of the conference, or you have a terrible loss to a team that's in the 200s of Ken Palm or even in the 300s that hurts the rest of the conference. Everyone plays a non-D1 school throughout the A10, and you have 15 games that just don't count. Right, so it's reducing your margin for error as a conference in terms of how you build your NCAA tournament resume, and Odom helped bring that from the Mountain West to the A10, and that's why they played this game. It's a conference-wide thing. The whole A10 is doing it. So that's to answer that question. Individuals tonight, Philip Russell only played 17-36, but 18 points, 3 fouls. He was able to stay out of the foul trouble tonight. There were a couple of moments that stood out to me. I don't know if this alludes to Phil kind of coming in tonight with a different mindset, but when a Vikings player hit a 3 over on this wing that I'm trying to point to right here, if I can get my orientation right with the camera, Phil told him, "Nice shot, buddy." And I heard him as I was sitting here at mid-court, and Phil was running back down the court next to the ESU player. And then as he was checking in at one point during that first half, he helped a couple of ESU players up who were sitting at the scorer's table getting ready to check in next to him. I think he's trying to find that in between, right? Between being the tenacious, intense player that he is and bringing that competitive X factor to this team. But in Charleston, tons of foul trouble. It almost seemed like that got under the ref's skin, and he's starting to develop a reputation as that guy, right? And that hurt him in Charleston, and that's why he got into foul trouble. And so I think he's trying to take it down a notch and find that middle ground between being that tenacious, intense guy, but not letting it boil over and get him into foul trouble and take him out of games. And it didn't tonight. 18 points, 5 of 10 from the floor, 4 of 9 from 3. Was really good. 25 over on the plus minus. Was really good to see him have a fluid offensive game, not get into foul trouble after his struggles in Charleston. So he led VCU with 18. Terrence Hill, 16 points. We got to talk to him in the post-game press conference in addition to Zeb Jackson, and Zeb said some really cool stuff about what Joey Rodriguez meant to this program, the generational connections between VCU players. And Terrence talked a lot about what he's learned from Zeb and what he's been able to learn from all the veteran guards on this team. And he was great tonight. 5 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3. Put VCU over the century mark in that second half with a breakaway dunk over on this end of the floor. This end of the floor, actually, that end over there. I get disoriented with the camera pointing at me. But that was fun. That was a really cool moment. This place got loud, and for a freshman who's as talented as he is with the ball handling skills, with the scoring acumen, we've seen flashes of it this year. But for him to put up 16, which is definitely the most that he's had so far in a VCU uniform, was very cool. And for him to talk to the media afterward was great. Zeb Jackson, 14 points, 4 of 7 from the floor. He said the hand is feeling okay. He continues to get a little more comfortable in terms of his ball handling out there. Certainly had great scoring games in Charleston. He's really been shooting it. I don't know what the total number is in his 4 games so far, but he's made multiple threes in every game, I believe, and he's been as consistent shooting from outside as we've seen Zeb Jackson in the VCU uniform. So that's been great to see how comfortable he's been coming back from injury. Joe Bamisile, 11 points, 4 of 9 from the floor. He didn't have to fill it. Him and Max didn't have to, carry this team offensively as they have in other games and as they do against higher level competition, right? And Max Shulga, 12 points, 8 of 10 from the free throw line, 2 of 4 from the floor, didn't take a 3, took a scary fall in that second half. And that's going to be one of the big narratives coming out of this game, because that was a scary moment. I did not see it. I've since seen the replay, but I was in the media room at halftime interviewing Joey Rodriguez along with other media. Well, I had a story doing for print tomorrow that I was on deadline for. And so I was focused on writing that during the second half and was interviewing Joey during halftime, and I wasn't out here when Max took that fall in the first few minutes. But flagrant 2 called on Michael Eads of Elizabeth City State. He was ejected from the game. And looking back at it, I don't think there was any malice from Eads, but it was a nasty foul, right? He kind of went up to block it with 2 hands and followed through and pulled Max to the ground, and Max took a pretty nasty fall, hit his head on the deck, spat out some blood afterward, but I think that was, a bit lip or a bit tongue or something like that. That's, anyone who plays basketball, that's happened, right? Where you take a fall and you spit up some blood, and it's not because there's any kind of internal injury or anything. It's just you bit your tongue or you bit your lip or something like that. So I think that's what happened with Max on that play. Went to the locker room for a second, but came back and watched most of the game, most of the second half from the bench, and we asked Odom about it afterward, and he said, scary play, but Max is okay. And so I don't think anything long-term in terms of health concerns for Max Shulga there, which is good news because that was a scary fall. Christian Furman, 9 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks. Really good game for him. He should dominate a game like this, right, against an ESU team that doesn't have a whole lot of size down low. Great rim protecting presence again. And Firm hit a jump shot. I think I'm gonna turn around and look at this. I believe it's right there where this gentleman who's cleaning the floor right now was standing, or a little further out. Firm hit a fadeaway, and Zeb Jackson and Terrence Hill had a funny reaction and some words to say about that after the game. They said Firm, they have drills during practice where they're shooting outside shots, and Firm is supposed to be shooting a 3 a lot of the time and always puts his foot on the 3-point line. And it ended up, he was a little bit inside it for that jump shot late in that game too, but a very fun celebration from Firm, who's obviously not a prolific outside shooter, but he made a jump shot, and we asked Odom playfully if he's going to let Firm take more jump shots, and he said that's not exactly a big part of the playbook. So I don't think we can expect more outside shots from Firm, but a very fun moment, and he kind of skipped down the floor here, celebrating after that. As again, this place was in a celebratory mood at that point. Fats Billups played 18-40, so I think his most minutes in a game of the year. Ended up scoring 8 points. He was 3 of 7 from the field. Man, just the cheers every time he gets on the floor. It's evident in every game. It was evident tonight. This fan base wants him to get going so much. Maybe a little bit of momentum built for him tonight with the 8 points. Had a really beautiful ball fake over on this end of the floor where he lost the defender and hit a turnaround J in a sequence during that first half, and then he hit a 3 at the top of the key right afterward, and this place exploded. I mean, this Eagle Center roars for a Fats Billups bucket as much as it does for anything else. They love that kid. These fans love the Verina product, and they really want him to get some momentum going in his VCU career after he stayed through a coaching transition. So a good night for Fats to get some good playing time. Luke Bamboye continues to impress in the minutes that he played. I think 6 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. Him and Firm continue to be really good rim protectors. Matt Shelton-Need of Ram Nation, I think, asked an important question of Odom, talking about the front court for this team, which was not great in Charleston, right? Jack Clark struggled offensively. Firm and Luke were both efficient. I think they ended up 7 of 10 from the floor in those 3 games in Charleston, but combined for just 17 points over 3 games, right? And so offensively, I think everyone knows they would like more from this front court for VCU, which coming into the year, everyone looked at the roster and they said that's the glaring hole here. So I think being able to get those guys shots that are high percentage looks in the flow of the offense is important. Off of guard penetration, the dump offs, the lobs for dunks, which Luke had a couple of tonight. His athleticism is wonderful. He's going to make a lot of highlight reel plays in this arena and in the black and gold. He's a fun player to watch with the blocks and with the dunks. And so some promising stuff on that front against an Elizabeth City State team that should be the case. So the story of the night is Joey Rodriguez, right? And Ryan Odom talking about it. Joey came to practice yesterday and talked to the team, and the generational connections among the current and former VCU players are kind of the baseline of what knits the fabric of this program together, right? And Ryan Odom said that's special. He said that Bradford Burgess and Darius Theus were obviously both excited for Joey. They were at midcourt during the pregame ceremony here, so that was an awesome moment. And for the current VCU players to kind of get a glimpse into how special that moment was with the Final Four run, what Joey, what Brad, what Darius, what all those guys, Ed Nixon, who's at center court, during the ceremony as well, for the current players to see kind of the culture of that generation, I think is really important for the continued success of this program from generation to generation. And Odom even said the thing that's, over the last couple of years, a lot of VCU fans have talked about, that he's a departure from the Shaka coaching tree, right, after Will Wade and after Mike Rhodes, that obviously Coach Odom's going to have some things that he wants to do his way, but he also realizes how important it is to have guys like Darius, to have guys like Brad, and to have the consistency and the culture of VCU basketball going back generations, and especially to that special moment of the Final Four run. So again, VCU 103, Elizabeth City State 58, Rams to 6-2. Joey Rodriguez honored in a really cool ceremony and a fun night at the Siegel Center. Thank you guys so much for following along the coverage. All the story up online shortly here, and some takeaways over the weekend. I'm going to go out to Dinwiddie tomorrow and cover Varina and Dinwiddie in the Region 4B championship game for high school football, which is going to be a lot of fun. So if you're an 804 high school football fan, follow the coverage along there at my Twitter and at richmond.com. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.